All right, so over on the other side of the Capitol, there are probably a couple dozen black SUVs. There's a lot of groups walking around up there wearing lanyards. So what those groups' purposes are, I don't know. But I was driving around and there's no parking up that area at all. But I wanted to come back here because of all this January 6th footage that's being released. The truth of that day. And I wanted to show some stuff and talk about some stuff. So, I had already been coming to DC. It wasn't every day. I had been popping in here for several months at that point. But January 6th, I had gotten the nudge not to come here. Like, it was a very, very strong nudge not to come here that day. And, clearly it was, like, supposed to happen, and I'm glad that I listened to it. I wasn't really comfortable with my nudges at that point. I was still questioning them. But I'm glad that I followed it, because if anything would have happened to me here that day, or if I'd have gotten mixed up in any trouble, I wouldn't have been here for the past 2.5 years. You know what I mean? My journey would have ended right off the bat. I'd have gotten a bad name here, but, clearly I've been walking the streets like I own the place for the past couple of years for the most part, Aside from a few, what I call, detaining interviews. But, for the most part, other than my 24 stint in that nasty-ass jail over there when I got arrested by the Secret Service, I've been looked over here. So I'm glad that it didn't come. But I came up here, I met a girlfriend over there by the White House on the next day, on January 7th. And we hung out, we came over here, and we walked, and we were sitting over here by the reflecting pool. And, they had put a small fence up way up there by the yard, but it wasn't anything. There was you wouldn't have thought for a second that a quote-unquote insurrection had taken place the day before. You wouldn't have. There were just people hanging around, nothing crazy. So we sat at the reflecting pool for a while, and the next thing you know, they start clearing us. They start bringing us back here to the street. Some of the Capitol Police. Somebody had left a red cooler up there. Let me zoom in a little for you. Sorry. Up there, but on those stairs by those statues, they had left a red cooler. So they cleared us all out. They brought in bomb squad, the robot, everything to go over and check out that cooler that day. And I guess it was late afternoon, and the next thing you know, it started to get a little dark, and Antifa started showing up. They started showing up on these rented bikes. They have these bikes that you rent throughout the city. They started showing up. They were all dressed in black. They started showing up on these rented bikes. And I looked at my girlfriend, and I was like, you know what, we have quite a ways, a couple of miles to walk to get back to our car, and I'm not feeling real comfortable, and she agreed. We got the hell out of here. So that was then. And then the next thing you know, the whole city was just like empty, but what they did was, and I stood right here where I'm at. In this little section of sidewalk here, because they had Constitution Road fenced off up here. You couldn't go up to the side of the Capitol. They had it all fenced off over here. I couldn't go any further than this corner here, okay? And it was all fenced off up Independence Avenue. And it had this big, big silver fence, at least 15 feet tall. And it had razor wire wrapped around the top of it. And then they had another fence behind that fence. And that was the black fence that we see go up around the Capitol, up and down around the Capitol. And that fencing, from what I was told, is what they use to make like gorilla cages. It's like serious fencing. And it's made of like these little holes, and you can fit your fingers in these holes, but it's very, very uncomfortable. The way they have the holes set is like very, very, I've done it. Of course I have. The only thing I haven't done is try to climb it, because because I couldn't. I'd get stuck. I wouldn't even be able to do it anyhow. But anyhow, you know, your fingers could go through these holes. They were just big enough for that, but they were very set strange and very, very uncomfortable. And you couldn't get your feet. They were like slippery, you know what I mean? So anyhow, they had these two fences. And I would stand out here, like, and video through these fences. And it was just a crazy, crazy scene here. I mean, they were like National Guard just freaking everywhere. Just everywhere, you know? I mean, just incredible buses of them. And they were like shit tons of white vans, and I mean, you name it, this place was chaos. It was chaos. So then, when I was digging back into my files, and I'll come up here and show you, you know, I had always thought that, like, and I don't know why I'd forgotten this, but I had always thought that the first real confirmation that I had gotten from somebody within the movement itself, the operation, not the movement, excuse me, the operation, like military, and I've gotten many, okay? I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't freaking be here, people. I don't have to be here. Get me home. But I wouldn't be here if I didn't know what was going on. Okay, where was I? So many things. Digging down into them holes the other night brought back, okay. So I thought the original time was over at the White House, April 2021, when the U.S. Marshal told me when I was wearing my Q sweatshirt and I was crying, shit was hitting the fan at the White House. I was really emotional. He was like, he asked me if something was weird on my sweatshirt, and because I was covering it, and I was like, maybe, all crying like a little bitch. And he told me, everything's going to be okay. It's okay, honey, that it's got to be done this way. But technically, my first real confirmation came from this corner right here. And this goes into the, the parking lot of the Capitol. So they had it all fenced in. They had opened the street because you couldn't even, in the beginning, cross the street. But they finally took that down. You could go over here. But it was all fenced in. And they had this big, like, military tan dump truck parked across here. And there were a couple of guys standing behind it. And I had just been here the day before and saw military, like everywhere, all throughout here. And when I came that day, I didn't see them. I was like, well, what the hell, Where'd they all go? So I went over to the truck. I saw the guys standing back there. And I went over and I was like, hey, hey guys, how are you today? And, telling them how much I appreciate the service, yada, yada. Told them that I had been coming up here. And at that point, some of the guys even didn't recognize me because I was coming up here and just staring at them through the damn fence like a psycho. But I was like, are you allowed to talk to me? And they were like, well, that depends. And the one guy did not want to talk to me. The other guy was okay with talking to me. And I said, okay, so have you signed NDAs? Yes, they have signed NDAs. I was like, okay, well, can you say anything to me? I was like, okay, so at that, they were moving that day. I have so much in my mind. I'm sorry. Out of here. So this was way before this all sheeting and all that crap came up, right? So they were moving stuff out onto like the balconies from the building. It appeared to be like furniture and stuff. So sitting there watching that, and I asked the guy, I was like, well, do you know what that is? He's like, I have no idea, about that. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I said, well, where's all the military? Because when I was here yesterday, there was military everywhere. And he goes, I was like, are they gone? He was like, oh, no, they're here. He said, you just can't see them. They're everywhere. And I was like, oh, really? And he was like, there is a lot to do here. There is a lot to do here. So basically what happened at that point was they started to open up the roads a little bit. And I wasn't familiar with the city. It took me forever to learn this city, the ins and the outs, where the buildings were, what the buildings were. And I still don't know everything. But they had military. And I got scared because the first time I saw them here was at night. I had come at night. and I didn't know over here down 3rd Street very well. And that's like the Herbert Hoover, that's like the Herbert Hoover building, and there's all Congress-related buildings down there, right? There were military like all over the buildings. There was military for months in this city, and the military guarded all of these buildings. I mean, the Rayburn building, the Cannon building, the Longworth building, the Library of Congress buildings, over here on this side on Constitution Avenue. I mean, the military were at all of these buildings, and they were visible on the streets for months. The military was not, and I don't even know if I've really ever said this, the military was not strictly at the Capitol building. I mean, they were probably at a dozen buildings, and they were there for months. Months. So, and I believe, I'm trying to think, like, I think the last of the military left in either May or June of 2021 that were, like, visible. And I've seen them since, but not like that. You know, so if there was, quote unquote, an insurrection at the Capitol building that day, which we all know that's a bunch of crap, what exactly did happen? And what was the need to have military all over Capitol Hill? I mean, completely covering Capitol Hill. And they were inside the buildings too. What was going on inside of those buildings? Why did they have to have military on the guard on the outside of these buildings? I mean, people have to ask themselves these questions. There's a lot of people that are in complete denial of what's happening and what's happened here. You know, that's why I say anymore, it's like, they're already done here. Military was the only way. The military wiped this city out a long time ago. They were in here a long time ago. And they were military over by the White House. But they were like completely and like everywhere present here. And I've got a lot of stuff, pictures and videos, and I just wish I was techier to go back and like share all this stuff. I'm afraid, honestly, to share it. For the fear of the wrong hands getting a hold of them and they may be edited somehow and them being shared irresponsibly, because I don't want people that don't understand what's going on here to see those and think that that might be current times, because it's not. I just wish that I was techier to do that. And maybe at Reckoning Fest I'll meet with someone that is. Maybe I'll talk to, you know, the guys there that run all the stuff there. I don't know. And see if there is a way. But I wanted to tell everybody that, because I don't even know if I said anything like that lately. Like, they were freaking everywhere. It was crazy. You know? And then we've seen them multiple times in heavy force, especially for these State of the Unions. Oh no, that was a lot of rambling. Sorry. I really wanted to tell everybody all that stuff, because it's like, oh, squirrel, that's the second one today. How beautiful. Safe travels, guys. And, you know, that's when the freaking, speaking of squirrels, that's when, you know, so the water's about a mile down there on the right. That's when the freaking military aircraft, like, was nonstop. I'm talking, I could go down that water on, and I did every day. And the military aircraft, it was nonstop. I mean, I was blown away. I'd sit there like a dork and wave at everyone. And to be quite honest, I'll tell you, one of the confirmations I was given was that they knew I was there. That they saw me. They saw me. So, yeah, that was like months and months and months. Heavy military. So things are just, you know, This is the aftermath. And what exactly is going on? I really don't know. I mean, this is a military operation, but I can tell you what, they've kicked ass. They've kicked ass, and I'm so grateful, and I pray for their safety. Everyone on the front lines, I pray for their safety, and I thank them so much for what they've done, because I've watched them, a little bit. I've watched them, and it's like, the good guys out there. So, yeah, that's that. Anyhow, just wanted to share a lot of that. I'm going to be going back and looking at a lot of stuff and making some posts and sharing some pictures at least. I can at least share some pictures and some screenshots. I don't have to be after Reckoning Fest though, because I got to get ready for that. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for that. But the Capitol, so, talking about fencing. So that fencing up there at the Capitol. So this has been like this. They started putting this fence up in November of 2021. The beginning of November 2021, they started putting that black fence up. And that black fence there is one of a kind that I've seen in this city. One of a kind. And I've seen a lot of fences. This particular fence is very, very different than anyone I've seen. It's made of very, very small, rectangles. And it is cut-proof. It is climb-proof. I mean, it is a beast of a fence. It's a beast of a fence. And what the thing is if that up there is construction, and those white sheeting walls, whatever you want to call them, they've been there for quite some time too. I mean, quite some time. I'm losing track of time, to be honest with you guys. But I can go back and find out exactly how long that has been there. But it's been a long time. So what the heck are they doing in that one section of the Capitol that's taken this long? I mean, seriously, what could they be doing? What are they doing back there that could possibly take this long? I don't know. But my biggest question is, why the need for that type of fencing? If that fence was put up specifically for and solely for construction, why would they need that type of fencing? It could be a very basic fencing with razor wire across the top. This is not cheap fencing up there. And it has these major, major steel doors. I'm talking like would appear to be like prison doors. I mean, I'm not saying that they are, I'm just saying that they have that look to them. They're just incredible. So it's why in the world would you need to have that type of fence? I mean, you've got Capitol Police officers that can guard that fence. You could put up a more of a construction type fence with some razor wire around the top. Why that kind of fence? That's been my question the whole time. I'm sure it's all going to come out, and I think it's just a matter of time for the truth to be coming out. It needs to come out about everything, because and Chuck Schumer, he's a pig. He's such a disgrace and a traitor to our country. I mean, and they all need to be. He's not the only one, but I mean, obviously. But how disgusting was he yesterday going and talking about, Tucker and all that stuff? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. The truth is finally starting to drip out, people, and I really hope that when I share the videos that you watch them. That you actually take the time to watch them, because I really don't think that most people understand how very, very, very close we were to losing our country. To seriously losing our country, to seriously losing everything. Not to mention all the stuff with the kids. But I think it's really important that people start understanding the depth of what's been taking place. You know? I really do. So anyhow, that's enough blabbing. I just wanted to share some stuff, and there's really nothing else to be seeing up here. I mean, hope that goes down. I know I saw somebody was like yesterday about the White House going down. Maybe they're taking artifacts out or something. Honestly, and I could be very, very wrong, but I don't think they're taking that building down. I don't think they're taking that building down. And I personally doubt if they'll take any of them down, you know? Could they take the monument down? Possibly. I mean, I don't know. But I honestly don't feel like they're going to be taking the buildings down. But like I said, I could be wrong. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm going to go ahead and head out of here because there's just nothing. So, you know, and I'll keep popping back up here and checking up on things. So you all just hang in there, okay? I know things are hard. I see people commenting I'm about to give up and I'm hopeless, and just hang in there, okay? I mean, we all have bad days. Even I have bad days. Trust me. Trust me. I have really bad days, but you have to hang in there because beautiful things are happening behind the scenes. I assure you of that. And when Trump says the best is yet to come, he means that. Good things are coming, but we have to go through this storm. We have to clean all of this out globally. We have to. It's the only chance. This is their only chance to do this. So we just have to stay strong. We have to pull up our bootstraps, pick our chins up, get through our hard days, fall down, cry, do what you got to do. Pray. Pray for strength. Works for me every time. I'll get right back up and I'm like, screw that. I'm up. I'm going. So just hang in there, and I love you, and we'll get through this together, okay? So I'm heading home, and I'll see you later, guys.